Today, we're going to talk 1970s announcers. We're talking about Mr. Bruce Flanders and Larry Huffman. We're going to talk about how they got their start at the Costa Mesa Speedway and what happened in their announcing careers. Interesting stories we're going to tell you today. So please subscribe if you like the content of this channel. It's going to be interesting today, and like the show. And thank you so much. At first, we're going to hear from Mr. Bruce Flanders. He had passed away in the past few years, rest in peace. But he's going to talk a little bit about how he got his beginning at the Costa Mesa Speedway.
At a professional level, it was Costa Mesa Friday the 13th of June, 1969, and I was co-announcing with, and this will be good for the hardcore boys that follow Speedway history, my co-announcer was Pee Wee Cullum. Pee Wee Cullum was one of the four Americans who rode in Europe in the 30s. He, Jack Milne, Cordy Milne, and Lammy Lamoureux were the four guys. And they were, he was knowledgeable as heck. We were all trying to figure out what was going on the first night of Speedway at Costa Mesa. There were three promoters. Not everybody knows this. There were three, a triumvirate. There was Jack Milne, there was Harry Oxley, a young Harry Oxley, and a guy by the name of Gene Ryan. Gene Ryan was the shop foreman at Jack's motorcycle shop in Pasadena.
Thank you so much, Bruce, for the interesting story about how you got your beginning at Costa Mesa and a little bit about the promoters, the first promoters at Costa Mesa. But I have to tell you, Bruce, up in heaven, you're wrong. There's actually four promoters that were the first four promoters at Costa Mesa, not three. And because I'm good friends of Cordy Milne's daughter, Sandra Hicks, we had a chat. And she told me that her father, Cordy Milne, who was the brother of Jack Milne, Cordy won a couple of United States Speedway championships. She told me that Cordy was also a promoter, the first promoters of Costa Mesa Speedway. And I kind of was blown away. And I said to Sandra, like, why didn't Cordy, let his name be out? And she said, well, my dad was kind of a private guy and he just was a silent partner. He invested money in the Costa Mesa as the other partners did. But Cordy Milne was more of a private guy and he just didn't want his name to be out. So all of you out there, you've learned something new today in Speedway, that Cordy Milne was one of the first promoters of Costa Mesa Speedway, along with the other three. Also, the second announcer at the Costa Mesa Bull Ring was none other than the super mouth, the motor mouth, and that was Larry Huffman. He could speak like 350 words a minute.
I'm Hall of Fame announcer Larry Huffman with a special message for Holly Sunderland from your husband, Boogie, which is a strange name for a man. It's your 11th anniversary, and Boogie wanted me to wish you a happy anniversary. He says he fell in love with you on your first date over a cup of coffee at Starbucks, that cheap bastard. But you've raced with him. You've gone to Mexico. In fact, you go to Mexico just to drink the water. You're that tough. You're so fast, you play ping pong by yourself. You have 3 kids, and he's madly in love with you. So, Holly, have a nitro-burning, fire-breathing, tire-scorching, 3-second funny car anniversary from Boogie and me.
He had a motor mouth. And I had Larry on one of my shows, and I asked Larry, how did that happen? How did you get your first gig at the Costa Mesa Speedway?
I was going to ask you a question, Larry. How did you get your gig at Costa Mesa? And I guess Bruce Flanders was the first announcer, if I'm not mistaken, from what people tell me.
Yes.
I wasn't there.
Yes, he was.
And Bruce Flanders was the first announcer, and you were the second announcer of Costa Mesa. How did you get that job, and what happened? Because Bruce is a pretty good announcer, and you are too.
Then he was just starting out. He just got back from Vietnam, and I heard about Oxley doing Speedway, and I said I'd like to come because I was doing this radio show on KZY and Sound of Speed. So my wife and I went down there and we found the grandstand, and afterward Oxley said, what do you think? I said, I can do better. I think I have a little more experience, and I'm on the radio. So he fired Bruce and hired me, and that was it. Bruce and I were never really too close after that.
So Harry Oxley came up to you and said, we want to replace Bruce because you have this experience as a radio DJ.
Well, primarily, but also the fact that I was on the radio did a lot because he knew I would expose people to Speedway, which I did. It was a sport in Orange County, and I talked about it. He realized that that was a good way to get the word out, and he liked me, and he trusted what I was doing.
Oh, that's good. You got a good gig. You were really legendary at Costa Mesa. I know you're legendary other places, your Supercross and stuff.
It really was.
But Costa Mesa was like your big gig, right? I mean, that was like the big show for you.
Interesting, Brian. An interesting thing about Costa Mesa is we brought Premier helmets into Costa Mesa. I was doing commercials for them, I forget exactly, and we went in there and I said, listen, I told Chuck Finch, the president, I said, you can own Costa Mesa Speedway. You can have every rider wearing a Premier helmet, getting winning money on it. Now, all the OEMs, the manufacturers, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Honda, they come to Speedway because they want to see what it's all about. So they would come and they'd see all these Premier helmets. They'd think, geez, these must be really big. And so that helped Premier sales for a long time. True story.
Who was your favorite Speedway rider that you introduced at Costa Mesa? And can you introduce their names today, kind of similar to what you did back in the day?
I mean, Bruce Penhall was super special because we became very good friends. But, Penhall, Wild Bill Cody, Rick Woods, the Huntington Beach Rocket, all of them. I liked all of them. I think most of them liked me. Well, they were starting making money when we got 5 tracks going. I was told Mike Bass could pull down $50,000 for 6 months' work. And in the 70s, that was a lot of money. Racing 5 nights a week.
Wow. I mean, with the inflation rate of like the cost of living in the 1970s, and then you made $50,000, that was like a couple $100,000 or more, right?
Yeah, it was.
Be nice to race Speedway today and make $200,000 in one season.
I think Speedway is going through some real tough challenges right now, Brian. I really do.
So who was your favorite riders that you announced? Penhall and who else? Because you announced a lot of guys. Danny Becker, he was one of the guys.
Yeah, well, Becker was insane. I mean, he could ride on the railing and win a race on the outside. Danny Berserko Becker was incredible. Wild Bill Cody was great. Larry Shaw, Forrest Penhall, Mike Bass, Gene Woods, Rick Wood. I liked them all.
Yeah, they're great. They were just amazing. Those guys are all legends. They're really good.
It's called the Huffman Hop. It's just a regular table we use for the scoring, and I get up and jump up and down. The crowd seemed to like it, so I kept it up.
Did they have to build like a platform so you didn't fall down? No. You're right above me.
Yeah, no, it's just a regular table. And as we scored. Gene Fink scored on that table, and I was jumping up and down on it.
You must have been light back in those days.
No, it's about what I weigh now. 170, 165.
So they had that scorekeeper's table built with a lot of extra wood, just because, anybody jumping on a table.
Well, they never broke.
It's good because you see a lot of these performers like Madonna and all these people, they're dancing and then the platform falls and they're like, ah. So that didn't happen to you.
No, it never did.
Oh, that's pretty good. I'm glad because you may not be here if it broke.
Good point.